Northern Cement Max Plus, Supreme at Max Pro Northern Cement, Ahon, Bangon, Sulong, and SMC Global Power.
Hello, I'm Alma Angeles. You're watching Eagle News International on tonight's headlines. The COVID-19 pandemic dampens New Year's Eve celebrations for a second consecutive year as multiple countries impose restrictions and the WHO warns a tsunami of infections threatens to overwhelm healthcare systems.
That are driving up cases to record numbers.
And the Philippine Department of Health on Thursday logged 1,623 more coronavirus disease cases.
I'm highly concerned.
And British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell is found guilty of recruiting and grooming young girls to be sexually abused by the late American financier Jeffrey Epstein. And a look back at the climate disasters this year. First in our news, a COVID tsunami is threatening to overwhelm healthcare systems, according to the WHO, as record surges fueled by the Omicron variant dampened New Year celebrations around the world once again. Take a look.
This virus will continue to evolve and threaten our health system if we don't improve the collective response. Right now, Delta and Omicron are twin threats that are driving up cases to record numbers, which again is leading to spikes in hospitalizations and deaths. I'm highly concerned that Omicron, being more transmissible, circulating at the same time as Delta, is leading to a tsunami of cases. The pressure on health systems is not only because of new COVID-19 patients requiring hospitalization, but also a large number of health workers are getting sick themselves. The unvaccinated are many times more at risk of dying from either variant. Omicron is moving so quickly. In addition to vaccination, public health social measures are also needed to stem the wave of infection, protect health workers and systems, open up societies, and keep children in school.
With regards to the pandemic, we've been saying this for a very long time, the acute phase of the pandemic that's been associated with the tragedy of death and hospitalizations, that can end in 2022. The virus itself is very unlikely to go away completely and will probably settle down into a pattern of transmission, low level, causing occasional outbreaks in under-vaccinated populations. And we hope that that is the end game here. But we're certainly not there yet. This is going to be a bumpy road on the way to low levels of COVID. I think the most important thing at this moment is we need to be careful about changing tactics and strategies immediately on the basis of what we're seeing in early Omicron data. Oh, it's less severe. Maybe it's not. It's more transmissible. Maybe it is. But we have to wait and see if the vaccines work or they don't work. We have to wait and see. And I think it would be advisable at this point, if we don't see huge shifts, huge moves in reducing control measures for COVID-19, purely on the basis of initial or preliminary studies.
Now, the evidence on Omicron is just emerging, and I think it would be it's still premature to conclude definitively. But I think what we can say is that all of the lab studies are pointing towards a reduction in utilization capacity. And also what we see clinically is that people who've been vaccinated, people who've had prior infections, are still getting breakthrough infections with Omicron. And that's why the numbers that we're seeing around the world today are extremely high, because these infections are occurring in both the vaccinated and unvaccinated people. However, it appears that vaccines are proving to be still protective, because even though the numbers are going up exponentially in many countries, hospitalizations, and even within hospitalization, hospitalized people, the need for ventilation, the need for critical care, that doesn't seem to be going up proportionately.
It is too early right now, and we still must be cautious when trying to ascertain the severity of Omicron virus infection. We do know that there are some suggestions of the reduced hospitalization coming from some countries, as was already discussed. But we need to know also, of those hospitalized, how many are on oxygen therapy, how many are requiring intensive care or mechanical ventilation, and how many are dying. So we do need to get a better understanding of that spectrum of severe disease in patients infected with Omicron. So what do we need? We need more data. We need robust analysis, and this is a call on countries that are experiencing as we heard, the co-threat of Omicron and Delta.
Thank you, Dr. Ryan, Dr. Diaz, Dr. Mahmoud.
The blistering surge was illustrated by AFP's tally of 6.55 million new infections reported globally in the week ending Tuesday, the highest the figure has been since the WHO declared a pandemic in March 2020. And the variant has already started to overwhelm some hospitals in the U.S. The hardest hit nation, where the 7-day average of new cases hit 265,427, according to a Johns Hopkins University tracker. Harvard epidemiologist and immunologist Michael Mina tweeted that the count was likely just the tip of the iceberg, with the true number likely far higher because of a shortage of tests. Nationwide, almost 9,000 COVID patients are being admitted every day, according to data collected by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, still some way short of the peak of 16,500 per day seen in January, though this is a lagging indicator. Around 1,200 people were dying on average every day on December 23, the day before data collection was disrupted by the holidays. In January, deaths peaked at an average of 3,400 a day. And England is set to open temporary field hospitals to contain a possible overspill of inpatients due to a surge in cases, according to the National Health Service today. Fueled by the highly contagious Omicron variant, daily cases have ballooned, standing at more than 183,000 on Wednesday. NHS England said it would start building the structures in the grounds of 8 hospitals in cities, including London, Bristol and Leeds, from this week, with each designed to house around 100 extra patients. The extra beds are designed for patients who are recovering from illnesses, including those who no longer have COVID, to free up space and staff to treat large numbers of virus cases. And the number of patients in UK hospitals with the virus are also growing fast, exceeding 10,000 on Wednesday, the highest figure since March. And here to give us an update, joining us live, is Ashley Espiritu. Hello, Ashley.
Hello, Alma. Thank you. The number of people in hospital with COVID in England, yes, as you said, topped 10,000 on Wednesday, the highest total since March, as UK case numbers hit a new record. According to updated government figures, there were 10,462 people in hospital with COVID in England on Wednesday morning, the highest level since March the 1st. Fresh UK-wide data was not available. The UK also reported 183,037 daily cases in the last 24 hours, a new record as the country faces a huge surge due to the new Omicron variant. Prime Minister Boris Johnson toured a vaccine centre in Milton Keynes in central England and urged the public to get tested and be sensible at New Year's parties. Johnson urged people to get vital booster jabs, saying the overwhelming majority of these currently going into intensive care in our hospitals have not had the booster jab. He cited doctors as saying the numbers are running up to 90% of people in intensive care who are not boosted. More than 33 million people in the UK have had booster jabs, while Johnson has vowed to every adult an appointment by the end of the year. The Prime Minister urged people to enjoy New Year in a cautious and sensible way and take a test before meeting friends. This came as concerns rose over shortages of self-testing kits due to huge demand. Let's listen to what he has to say.
According to some of the surveys I've seen, 90% of the patients in ICU are people who are not boosted. So think about that. Think about the risk you're running with your own health if you fail to get a booster. We've got cases certainly going up. We've got a lot of cases of Omicron. But on the other hand, we can see the data about the relative mildness of Omicron, and what we can also see is the very, very clear effect of getting those jabs, getting those boosters in particular, and that's what's making a huge difference. I think everybody should enjoy New Year, but in a cautious and sensible way. Take a test, ventilation, think about others, but above all, get a booster.
A health security agency tweeted that it was delivering record numbers of kits and more would become available. The London Fire Brigade said more than 700 firefighters had tested positive or were self-isolating, taking more than a third of its fire engines off the road. The UK has been one of Europe's worst hit with a death toll of 148,089. Johnson defended his decisions not to tighten virus curbs in England over the festive period, while Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales have limited social contacts. The government also factored in the data about the relative mildness of the Omicron, with Johnson further stressing that it's very, very clear effect of getting those jabs, of boosters in particular, saying that's what's making a huge difference. Back to you, Alma.
Thank you very much, Ashley, for that update. You take care and stay safe during this New Year's celebration.
Thank you for having me, Alma. A Happy New Year to our viewers and everyone there at our main site. I'm Ashley Spiritu, reporting from London, United Kingdom, and we live in interesting times.
And back here in the country, the Department of Health on Thursday logged 1,623 more COVID cases, bringing the nation's overall tally to 2,841,260. Thursday's figure of new cases translates to an almost 83% increase from Wednesday's 889, bringing the active case tally to 11,772. In its COVID bulletin, the DOH also logged 256 new recoveries, pushing the total recovery count to 2,778,115. Of the active cases, 5,737 are mild, 577 are asymptomatic, 372 are critical, 1,771 are severe, and 3,315 are moderate. The death toll has reached 51,373 with 133 new deaths. And due to a surge in COVID cases amid the holiday season, the Philippines COVID Task Force is keeping the entire country under an alert level 2 status from January 1 to 15th next year. Take a look. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles said the IATF likewise released an updated risk classification of countries, territories, and jurisdictions effective January 1 to 15. Destinations under the red list or those at high risk of COVID-19 infection are Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, and Spain. Bangladesh, Benin, Bhutan, British Virgin Islands, China mainland, Ivory Coast, Djibouti, Equatorial Guinea, Falkland Islands, Malvinas, Fiji, the Gambia, Guinea, Hong Kong, and Indonesia, Kuwait, Kyrgyzstan, Liberia, Montserrat, Oman, Pakistan, Paraguay, Rwanda, Sabah, the special municipality of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Saint Barthélemy, Sao Tome and Principe, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Saint Eustatius, Taiwan, Timor-Leste, East Timor, Togo, Uganda, and the United Arab Emirates were placed on the green list or those at low risk of COVID infection. All other countries, territories, jurisdictions not mentioned shall be under the yellow risk or those at moderate risk of COVID infection. Meanwhile, foreign Travelers on Indonesia's resort island of Bali have been warned they may be deported if they are caught violating COVID-19 health rules during the New Year celebrations, according to authorities warning them today. Bali Immigration Office Head Jamarulu Manihuruk said, "Get ready to be kicked out." Bali's governor has barred carnivals, fireworks, and gatherings of more than 50 people over the holiday period. Malls, restaurants, and cafes must be shut by 10 p.m. and only operate at 75% capacity. Almost 200 tourists were deported from Bali back in 2021, according to Mr. Manihuruk, with 7 booted out for violating COVID protocols. In July, 3 foreign tourists from the United States, Ireland, and Russia were also sent home after they were caught not wearing masks in public during a raid. And take a look. Chinese state media images show people in hazmat suits delivering groceries to residents in the northern Chinese city of Xi'an, where 13 million residents are now under home confinement because of an outbreak of the coronavirus. Locals complained they were struggling to find enough food, despite Beijing insisting on Thursday that the supply situation was under control. Commerce Ministry spokesman Gao Feng at a press briefing said the Commerce Ministry would take further measures if needed to ensure a stable supply of residents' daily necessities. While low compared to outbreaks around the world, daily infections remained high in Xi'an by China's standards, with another 155 infections reported Thursday, and there have been more than 1,000 cases since December 9. And around 5,000 anti-vaccination protesters defied a ban on demonstrations in Munich Wednesday night, marching in small groups through the city under the close surveillance of around 1,000 police. According to Deutsche Welle News, although Germany isn't logging record cases like its neighbors, Health Minister Lauterbach said current figures don't show the whole picture. Data reporting has slowed over the holidays, but the Omicron variant has not. Speaking in Berlin on Wednesday, Lauterbach said Germany's current 7-day incidence rate was likely 2 or 3 times as high as the current rate of 205 cases per 100,000 people. And the warning comes as the Omicron variant is rapidly spreading throughout the country and amid concerns from experts about potential infection spikes during New Year's celebrations. Back here in the country, a hotel in Metro Manila is under investigation following reports that it allowed a guest who came from the U.S. to skip quarantine protocols. Take a look. Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat did not identify the hotel, but said the Department of Tourism has already served a notice to explain, directing the establishment in question to submit. A viral post circulating on social media alleged that a returning Filipino who came from the U.S. left the hotel for a party in Makati City before finishing the prescribed quarantine period. Romulo Puyat said the DOT is in touch with the concerned authorities to validate the reports. She also said individuals found violating quarantine protocols may face penalties and imprisonment. In other news, a powerful 7.3 magnitude quake struck off the coast of Indonesia's Maluku province in the early hours of Thursday, the U.S. Geological Survey said in a statement. There were no immediate reports of tsunami warnings nor casualties or damage. The offshore quake took place around 3:25 a.m. local time, 18:25 GMT Wednesday, and hit at a depth of 166 kilometers, about 120 kilometers northeast of the town of Los Palos. Indonesia experiences frequent quakes due to its position on the Pacific Ring of Fire, an arc of intense seismic activity where tectonic plates collide, which stretches from Japan through Southeast Asia and across the Pacific Basin. And in other news, Canada is in a deep freeze. Eagle News correspondent Thomas I. Likeness has come in and out of the cold to tell us all about it. Thomas.
When I got up this morning, the temperature was in the mid-minus 30s. With wind chill, it felt like minus 40. Old Man Winter has tightened his grip on the Canadian West, and that's created a myriad of problems. Some people can't get their vehicles started, and if you do manage to get it running, there's the problem of driving on icy roads. Waiting for public transit is a challenge. In temperatures like these, frostbite can develop on exposed skin in a matter of minutes. People have been told to limit their time outdoors until conditions improve. Edmonton's homeless population has been hard hit. They gather outside of crowded shelters. The city has even opened an extra emergency shelter at its football stadium. All shelters in the city are at capacity. But there are those who forgo the emergency help, preferring instead to live outside in makeshift tents. A big risk for the homeless? Hypothermia. Edmontonians can expect a bit of a reprieve this weekend when temperatures are expected to rise to a balmy -4. But that winter heat wave will be short-lived. On Monday, we'll be back to temperatures in the -20 degree and lower range. And that's expected to last until at least mid-January. Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News International, Edmonton, Canada.
Thank you, Thomas. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden and his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, will speak Thursday in the latest effort to defuse the tensions surrounding Moscow's military buildup on the border with Ukraine. Take a look. It'll be the second telephone call in less than a month between the two leaders, with Biden in early December warning Putin of severe consequences if Russian troops invaded. Biden, who is at his home in Delaware for the New Year's holiday, will stress that Washington is looking for a diplomatic path out of the crisis, according to a senior administration official telling reporters. Russia has sent tens of thousands of troops to the border with Ukraine, according to Western officials who fear a repeat of 2014 when Moscow seized the Crimea Peninsula and a pro-Russia insurgency broke out in eastern Ukraine, leaving more than 13,000 people dead. In a potential step to defuse tensions, senior U.S. and Russian officials plan to meet on January 10 in Geneva. Meanwhile, Iran announced today it had carried out a new space launch in a move likely to irk Western powers amid tough talks on reviving a 2015 nuclear deal. Take a look. The Simorgh satellite launcher carried 3 research cargoes into space, according to Defense Ministry spokesman Ahmad Hosseini, quoted by state television. In February, Iran announced a successful test of its powerful solid-fuel satellite launcher to date, the Zoljana, boasting that it can put a 220-kilogram payload into orbit. The United States voiced concern about that launch, saying the test could boost Iran's ballistic missile technology at a moment when the two nations are inching back to diplomacy. Western governments worry that satellite launch systems incorporate technologies interchangeable with those used in ballistic missiles, capable of delivering a nuclear warhead. And before we go on a break, let's hear some of the hopes and greetings of our bureaus in Europe as they welcome the new year. Take a look.
Oh, hello there. I'm Keith Imaguyu, and here in Ireland, my family will have to be spending the new year during the pandemic. Normally, if it weren't for the pandemic, my family, we would be going to our friends' house, but that won't be the case this year. While following with the COVID guidelines and restrictions, my family will be heading off to a hotel. This will give us an opportunity to recharge and have one last, you could say, mini holiday before the end of the year. And once we get that rest, our family will be ready to take on whatever challenges or whatever the year 2022 brings us. A happy new year, and good luck to all of us for the year 2022.
Hello everyone, and hello to 2022. Of course, we know we're going to be saying goodbye to 2021 very, very soon. But before the year ends, I'd like to share with you some of my New Year's resolutions. First of which being to get away from this screen and some screen time as well. As we know, working from home and trying to connect with everyone else does require a screen, but I'm trying to cut down on that in the coming year. As we know, long sustained periods of time on your screen is quite unhealthy for you. So that's one of the things I'm going to try to stay away from this coming year. For my next resolution, I'm going to try and stop playing me some video games. Of course, I'm not going to entirely stop playing video games because that's just what I enjoy. But obviously, I'm going to try and cut down and put my time into somewhere productive. So let's put some video, shall we? And of course, I'm going to try and read me some more books and hopefully finish some more books in this coming year, because who doesn't like and enjoy a good book? And there we have it, folks. Just some of my New Year's resolutions for you. Of course, let's try and stick with our New Year's resolutions this year. I know. And of course, for the last time this year, from the United Kingdom, once again, I am Ryan Florentino, and a Happy New Year to everyone.
Hello everyone, I'm Patricia from the EBC Bureau of UK. Just want to say that 2021 has been incredibly challenging, I'm sure, for a lot of us. And of course, the new year has a lot of its own new challenges ahead. But despite that, there's always so many things to be thankful for. And for the new year, one of the things I'm really thankful for is that God has blessed me with a new exciting job role that is also going to be much more challenging. And so for me, to prepare for that, my goal next year is to become more organized, productive. And for me to do that, I will need to enlist the help, of course, of a planner with also some good journals such as these ones to help me stay on top of my notes, and of course all the tasks and activities I need to do so that I can be more productive, efficient, organized, and most of all, fruitful. So again, here at the EBC Bureau of UK, I just want to wish everyone here and around the world happy New Year. See you in 2022.
I am Daisy Matugas, here in Athens, Greece, would like to greet the members of the Church of Christ all over the world a Happy New Year!
Hello everyone, I'm Beverly Madrid from EBC Spain Bureau, and I would like to greet the Church of Christ Executive Minister Brother Eduardo V. Manalo and the members of the Church of Christ around the world a Happy New Year.
We, the Salenga family from the EBC Bureau in the UK, would like to greet the members of the Church of Christ around the world a Happy New Year.
Despite the many challenges we face in 2021,
we still have many things to be thankful for.
So from the Season family here in the United Kingdom, we greet all members of the Iglesia ni Cristo around the world.
Happy New Year!
We, the Reynolds family from the EBC UK Bureau, we would like to greet the members of the Church of Christ around the world a very Happy New Year!
From the EBC Bureau here in the United Kingdom, we would like to greet the Iglesia ni Cristo Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, and all the members around the world.
A very Happy New Year! Welcome 2022!
And the news continues here on Eagle News. We'll be right back. Welcome back. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Wednesday led international condemnation of the latest closure of a pro-democracy media outlet in Hong Kong, saying it undermined the reputation of the Chinese-ruled financial hub. By silencing independent media, PRC and local authorities undermine Hong Kong's credibility and viability, Blinken said, referring to the People's Republic of China. He said a confident government that is unafraid of the truth embraces a free press. Police in Hong Kong, where Beijing has been ramping up control on Wednesday, burst into the offices of Stand News, seizing phones, computers, and documents and taking away its editor-in-chief. And Stand News later said it was immediately ceasing operations. Blinken said journalism is not sedition, and he called on PRC and Hong Kong to cease targeting Hong Kong's free and independent media and to immediately release those journalists and media executives who have been unjustly detained and charged. Meanwhile, Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam hit back on U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's condemnation on the closure of the city's media outlet Stand News, saying the police raid and arrests have nothing to do with press freedom. Take a look.
So these actions are law enforcement actions. These actions have nothing to do with so-called suppression of press freedom or suppression of democracy, as some will put it. There was a statement issued by the Secretary of State of the United States. And again, they sort of made all sorts of allegations and accusations about this incident. There was this very short phrase in the statement. He said that journalism is not sedition. Well, I agree with that. Journalism is not sedition, but seditious acts and activities and inciting other people through public acts and activities could not be condoned under the guise of news reporting.
Two senior editors of Hong Kong media outlet Stand News were charged with conspiracy to publish seditious material on Thursday, according to police. Following that raid that drew international condemnation, the Hong Kong's Police National Security Department said in a statement that two men, aged 34 and 52 respectively, and an online media company had each been charged with one count of conspiracy to publish seditious publication. The men charged were Lam and former editor-in-chief Chang Pui Quen, along with Stand News parents company Best Pencil Limited, according to court documents. In other news, a friend to British royalty who romanced billionaires and dazzled elites, Ghislaine Maxwell was once the toast of the jet-set party circuit. A knows-everybody socialite with an aura of mystique, and she now stands to spend the rest of her life in prison. Take a look.
We firmly believe in Ghislaine's innocence. Obviously, we are very disappointed with the verdict. We have already started working on the appeal, and we are confident that she will be vindicated. Everyone, be healthy. Have a happy new year. How is Ghislaine doing?
Now, two of Epstein's alleged victims said they were as young as 14 when Maxwell allegedly began grooming them and arranging them for them to give massages to Epstein that ended in sexual activity. One, identified only as Jane, detailed how Maxwell recruited her at summer camp and made her feel, quote, special. She said sexual encounters with Epstein became routine, with Maxwell sometimes present. The charges against Maxwell stem from 1994 to 2004. Sex trafficking of minors carries a maximum 40-year sentence. The lesser charges have terms of 5 or 10 years. Maxwell was found not guilty of one count, enticement of a minor to travel to engage in illegal sex acts. Meanwhile, Virginia Giuffre, who alleges Epstein lent her out for sex with his wealthy and powerful associates, including Britain's Prince Andrew, after Maxwell introduced the royal to the financier, welcomed the verdict in a statement on Twitter, saying, "My soul yearned for justice for years, and today the jury gave me just that, and I will remember this day always," said Giuffre, who was not an accuser in the case. "I hope that today is not the end, but rather another step in justice being served. Maxwell did not act alone. Others must be held accountable. I have faith that they will be," she said. Prince Andrew denies the accusation. Maxwell still faces 2 counts of perjury related to testimony she gave in 2016 in a defamation case filed by Giuffre. In other news, a brawl erupted in Kenya's parliament on Wednesday as lawmakers were debating a controversial bill governing political parties ahead of next year's election. And the speaker here suspended the session briefly after the chaotic scenes, which saw at least two rival MPs exchange blows, according to images broadcast on local media. One lawmaker, as we saw earlier, Bernard Coros, was injured during the fracas and was seen with blood dripping down his face, while another was expelled from parliament by the speaker. The fighting broke out after hours of heated debate over the bill, which contains amendments to laws governing political parties and the registration of coalition groupings or elections. Opponents of the proposals argue that President Uhuru Kenyatta and his erstwhile foe, Raila Odinga, will use them to build a formidable coalition ahead of the August 9 vote. And the news continues here on Eagle News. We'll be right back.
Ahon, bangon, sulong. Ahon, bangon, sulong.
Pangarap ng bawat Pilipino. Hangarin ng Northern Cement.
Ahon, bangon, sulong.
Pinalaki ng Northern Cement ang kapasidad ng kanilang planta para steady ang supply ng sementong tigasin. Northern Cement Max Plus, Supreme at Max Pro.
Ahon, bangon, sulong.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok. Kaya sa kabila ng mga hamon ng buhay, nandito kami para umalalay. Kasi katulad mo, gusto rin namin ang magandang bukas para sa kanya. Hatid namin ang dekalidad na edukasyon at makabagong pasilidad sa abot kayang halaga. Kaya huwag ka na mangamba. Sasamahan ka namin tuparin ang mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. May lalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa New Era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon, gabay natin ang MTRCB ratings sa matalino at responsableng panonood. Sa tamang pagsunod sa MTRCB ratings, ginagawa nating ligtas at makabuluhan ang panonood ng bawat miyembro ng pamilyang Pilipino. Lumipas man ang panahon hanggang may pamilyang Pilipino, andyan ang MTRCB.
And here's a look back at the climate disasters in 2021. Floods, Fires, drought, climate change, pollution. Take a look at how people are coping with a world that has warmed by 2 degrees Fahrenheit over the past century. Take a look. Snowstorms across much of Spain killed at least 4 people during the first week of January. The blizzard trapped motorists and closed the capital Madrid's air and rail links. The capital Madrid and the surrounding region was one of the areas worst hit by the snow, with levels of snowfall not seen since 1971. According to New York Times, the snowstorm caused damage estimated at about 1.4 billion euros. On January 18, the United Kingdom saw one of its heaviest precipitations in decades. For 3 consecutive days, Storm Christoph brought significant rain and widespread flooding across the country. Once Storm Christoph cleared, significant snowfall also led to travel disruption with icy conditions and road closures. And Fiji was hit by a Cyclone Anna at the end of January, killing 1 person. At least 5 people, including a 3-year-old child, went missing. Cyclone Anna, a Category 2 storm, slammed into the South Pacific island nation with winds of up to 140 kilometers an hour and heavy rain, causing widespread flooding. In February, temperatures dropped to minus 13 degrees Celsius in some areas of Texas, causing widespread electricity cuts. A deadly winter weather system that brought record-busting cold to the southern and central U.S., knocking out power for millions in oil-rich Texas, pushed up the East Coast as heavy snowfall and icy buildups disrupted coronavirus vaccinations. It left dozens of dead in its wake and nearly 7 million Texans told to boil water before consuming it. The historic frigid blast has seen Arctic cold envelope a U.S. heartland unfamiliar with such extremes. And in March, China witnessed its worst sandstorm in a decade. Buildings are obscured behind an apocalyptic pall of smog. The city government ordered all schools to cancel outside sports and events and advised those with respiratory diseases not to go out. And more than 150 people were killed when Cyclone Seroja hit Indonesia and East Timor in April, triggering flash floods and landslides that uprooted trees, blocked roads, turned small communities into wastelands of mud. Dozens of people went missing, thousands became homeless, while about 10,000 people fled to shelters across neighboring Southeast Asian nations. And a smothering heat wave in June killed 569 people in Canada's westernmost province of British Columbia over 5 days. Take a look.
We do get heat waves from time to time every summer. The summers have been getting hotter, but you know, it's never this bad. We've never experienced anything in the 40s in Vancouver.
A resident of Calgary, Canada, shows a pile of jelly beans liquefying as unprecedented temperature extremes heat Western Canada. The scorching heat stretching from the U.S. state of Oregon to Canada's Arctic territories has been blamed on a high-pressure ridge trapping warm air in the region. Experts said climate change contributed to the record-shattering heat. Meanwhile, swaths of Western Germany and Belgium in July drowned as floods devastated low-lying towns in the region for the first time in 60 years. Take a look.
Ich stehe vor dem Ruin von nix, habe eine Frau, 2 kleine Kinder. Wir wissen nicht, wie es weitergeht.
We need to step up climate action. We need to step up the level of ambition. We're not doing nearly enough to stay, within the targets of the Paris Agreement and keep temperatures below 2 degrees Celsius.
Germany, at least 170 people died in the worst natural disaster to hit a European country in decades. Between 100 and 150 millimeters, or 4 and 6 inches of rain, fell between July 14 and 15, according to the German Weather Service, an amount that would normally be seen over 2 months. In Italy, firefighters battled more than 500 blazes in Sicily and the southern Calabria region in August. At least 2 people lost their lives. An anti-cyclone is an area of high atmospheric pressure that in summer brings dry, hot weather. The Mediterranean has been singled out as a climate change hotspot with increasing temperatures and aridity lengthening fire seasons and doubling the areas potentially burnt, according to a draft UN assessment seen exclusively by AFP. And as wildfires ravaged parts of southern Europe in August, Greece was one of the countries heavily affected. Take a look.
Σχεδόν 41 θα έρθει. Θα περάσουμε, διότι τι θα φάμε. Πώς θα ζήσουμε. Τα πέφυγα καμένα, τα γίδια καμένα, τα χωράφια καμένα. Με τι. Μας καταστρέψανε. Μόνο αυτό και αυτό. Τι πώς άλλο.
Και οι συνέπειες θα είναι ακόμα συνέχεια για το Μεγέση, γιατί δεν υπάρχει πλέον νομή που λέμε εμείς εδώ να τα συντηρήσουμε. Δεν κρατιέται το Μεγέση μόνο με τροφές έτοιμες. Το Μεγέση φτιάχνει και μόνο τροφές.
And take a look at these videos showing the sky above the island of Evia turning into a red haze during sunset due to the wildfires that have been ravaging the Greek island. Take a look. And with its 30 named storms, the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season was a tough act to follow. But the 2021 season made a go of it when the official end of the season rolled around on November 30th. The 21 named storms that had come up and gone added up to the 3rd most active storm season on record. According to the Weather Network, it was also the 3rd time the traditional 21 name list was exhausted. But unlike 2020 and 2005, there were no subsequent storms requiring the use of backup name list. And the quieter than usual 2021 Northwest Pacific typhoon season saved its worst for last with the final storm of the year, Super Typhoon Rai. According to Pagasa, Rai made landfall at 5:30 December 16 on Siargao Island in the southern island of Philippines. Rai was a Category 5 storm with 160 miles per hour winds at landfall, but was undergoing an eye wall replacement cycle at the time and weakened to a Category 4 storm with 150 miles per hour 30 minutes after landfall. Rai went on record to multiple landfalls at Category 4 and Category 3 strength during the remainder of the day as it plowed to the southern and central Philippines. And here are some reactions from our bureaus based on what happened in the year 2021. What do they want to do in the year 2022? Let's hear.
2021 was the year of what a lot would consider the most stubborn roadblocks many had to face in our lifetime. With the pandemic still hovering over us and other dilemmas clouding our communities, it was a tough year to go through. But we are still here, standing strong and able to seize opportunities, both sought after and those that present themselves to us. So let 2022 be a year of accomplishments and victories, bravery and resilience, of self-care and looking after each other. In Washington, D.C., Eliza Gonzalez, Manglikmot. Happy New Year, everyone.
Hi, I'm Estella Dominique.
And I'm Elise Danielle from Washington, D.C.
And my plan for 2022, based on what I learned in 2021, is that I should plan ahead so I could get things done faster.
And my plan is to stop worrying about the little things.
Happy New Year!
Hi, I'm Arlene here in the state of Maryland. For 2022, I would like to improve in maintaining a healthy work-life balance. I think this would definitely keep me sane. Happy New Year's, everyone, and please stay safe out there.
My top plans for 2022 are really to probably have patience in all that I do and what I expect of others. I think it's been a really tough year, and people are coming, doing the best that they can. And I think giving grace and being patient with others is probably going to be my number one priority this year going into 2022.
2021 has showed us that the world is not the way it used to be. In the coming year, we will work towards more acceptance and resilience with the way the world works at present. COVID-19 still persisted this year, but we see opportunities to be more mindful of ourselves and the things that matter the most in our lives. We will remain unstoppable in faith. So goodbye and thank you, 2021, and hello there, 2022.
COVID-19 continues to challenge our every effort to overcome its persistence. Yet in doing so, we have gained and continue to gain a vast wealth of experience and knowledge in aspects of our lives that we would never have thought of before if it weren't for this pandemic.
Aloha! I'm Alfred Asenas coming to you from Honolulu, Hawaii. You know, just like in years past, 2021 has had its share of ups and downs. Events large and small that will be etched in our memory for years to come. But more importantly, as we witness these happenings, we get to learn from them to help us to become better individually and collectively. So my wish for my own family and to everyone out there as we enter 2022 is to never stop learning, never stop being informed, and to always help and believe in each other, especially in these interesting times. So from all of us here in Hawaii Pacific and to our EBC Ohana and audiences worldwide, hau'oli makahiki ho! Happy New Year!
Thanks, guys. And at the end of the day, as I always say, there remains so much more to be grateful for. I'm Alma Angeles, and we live in interesting times. Good night.
This program is supported by Northern Cement Max Plus, Supreme at Max Pro Northern Cement, Ahon, Bangon, Sulong, and SMC Global.